You know, I want to begin our practice by simply acknowledging the fact that I take a lot of time to say hello to everybody. And I remember one of our Sangha members asking me one time, and really saying to me, "So, Julia, are you really going to say hello to 100 individual people if 100 people showed up?" And I was like, yes, I really am. Like, that's going to be part of the meeting. And I just want to take a brief moment to tell you why. If you haven't heard the TED talk about the opposite of sobriety or the opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. Um, Check it out. You can just Google that. It's a wonderful, wonderful TED talk. And so it's one thing to give voice and lip service to the word connection and to the notion of connection, to the idea of connection. It's another thing entirely to actually enact connection, to be in connection, to make connection, to create an environment of communion. So when I take a few extra minutes to welcome everybody, that is the intention and the motivation behind it, is to make sure that everybody feels welcomed, everybody has a sense of belonging, everybody connects in a way that we remember who we really are, which is each other. With that, welcome everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. I'm Julia, and I will be your guide and your facilitator today. I'd like to set the intention of our practice today with a sentiment of metta, loving kindness, one of the limitless qualities that we can cultivate in our Buddhist practice. This one, it was painted by our wonderful friend Michelle in Florida, and on the back I wrote, "May what you know and what you feel harmonize. May what you know and what you feel harmonize." This is perfect for our practice today because for the month of November, friends, we are exploring the idea of attachments. And yesterday, I planted an image, hopefully in some of your minds, about how to enact attachment by holding in the palms of your hands, metaphorically speaking, figuratively speaking, a handful of seeds. And then we clench those seeds. And the clenching and holding is attachment. And then when we open our hand and we release our hands to the whimsy of the winds, and we watch the seeds just take flight, however they're going to take flight, that is freedom. And what I love about this image and this idea is that even though we're holding on to those seeds and we're attached to those seeds by having them in our fist, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. I have to hold on to my seeds if I'm carrying them out to the garden. I don't want to have my hands, if I'm carrying a handful of seeds, wide open, because then they'll go everywhere. I want to have some kind of control. So I close up my hand, I hold those seeds to take them to wherever it is I'm going, and then I can open my hand and release them and offer freedom. The same is true with the attachments we're harboring for ourselves. So the mind has this unbelievable capacity to make things either or, dualistic. Something's either good or it's bad. Something either is right or it's wrong. If I'm attached, that's bad. If I'm offering some kind of liberation or freedom, that's good. The nature of reality is always both. And the purpose of meditation, the purpose of taking time to look deeply, is to determine for yourself what that bothness means. When you're holding on to your seeds, have you been holding on too long? Is it time to release? Have you not been holding on long enough? Only you can determine that. So today, what we're going to do is play with that imagery a little bit and really take that into the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And if you're not familiar with the 4 foundations of mindfulness, very, very simple. Think of the 4 foundations as 4 places of pause, 4 touchstones. Your body, that's the first one. And today we're going to use our hands. The second touchstone is your emotions, your mood. How do you feel? The third is your mind, your thoughts. What are you thinking? And the 4th foundation are your stories, your mental perceptions and formations. In our hands today, we're going to metaphorically imagine putting into your hand a thought, a story, an attachment. And I would like to encourage you to consider not only a negative attachment, but maybe even a positive one. We can get really attached to really good things. We want them to last forever, and we feel really disappointed when they end. That's a kind of attachment. I feel that way about Ben & Jerry's ice cream, and it doesn't even matter what kind. It always goes away too soon. Attachment. And in that space of attachment sometimes, even though it's really, really good, because I'm harboring this silly idea that it's not lasting long enough, what's happening is I'm failing to really enjoy it. That's what attachment does. That's a consequence of attachment. I'm failing to see its reality. I'm failing to be in the moment. The negative attachments are just its opposite. When we harbor a negative point of view, a negative perspective, some old story, I'm the worst person in the world. We've all harbored that one in some degree or another. If we are attached to it long enough, if we repeat that story enough times, we will forget and fail to see our own magnificence. And the worst part about that attachment is it puts a veil over everything. So not only can we not see our own magnificence, the magnificence of others is also dulled. So when we can liberate those attachments even a little bit, we can begin to see the magnificence of ourselves and by extension, others. So in the palm of your hand, place an attachment. And when you're ready, close your hand, make a fist. And what I'd like you to do for the next few moments of silence is play with your hand. Again, this is now enacting the mindfulness of body. Play with the tension of your grip. Grip your hand, make a tight, tight fist. Feel it in your hand. And then release some of that tension. Feel it. Feel your fingernails against your skin, against the pad of your thumb. Get in touch with your hand. Get in touch with your feelings about this whole exercise. Allow your thoughts to rise and fall. If you are experiencing judgments about it, don't worry. Allow the judgments to be there. Just notice, observe, see what you see, and anchor it all in the beauty of the breath. So we'll just be silent for a few moments together. Friends, many of us have heard the notion to let go. And we've all encountered this in some way or another, and so often it's so much easier said than done. And I think one of the reasons why is we don't give enough attention to the process of letting go. There's a threshold there. There's a point where we're holding on, and then we come to an edge, we come to a threshold, and then we let that go. But that edge, that threshold, is so rich with pause and reflection. And that's where we are right now together, if you're still holding your hand in a fist. My experience right now, what's come up for me is that I've got this heightened awareness of my whole right arm. It's fatigued, it's tired. And what that brought forward for me is how exhausted my psyche must feel. I've been holding my hand in a fist for a couple of minutes, but some of these old attachments, my psyche has been clenching for decades. And so what arose for me in this very brief practice was just a little nugget of compassion for myself, like, oh, Julia, you poor thing holding on to this. This is exhausting. Wow. We can ease that open a little bit, gently, carefully, lovingly. compassionately. It's not just about let it go. How do you let it go? So now, with compassion, with great reverence for your hand, all that it does for you. My right hand is my dominant hand. It does all my writing for me. It's amazing, this thing, this extension of my consciousness. And so I'm going to open my hand and allow it to relax slowly so that I can feel the blood returning. I can feel the muscles relaxing. I'm slowly unfurling like a time-lapse camera, unfurling my fingers like a fern in the woods. And poof, there goes whatever attachment I had. Connected with the air, connected to life's whimsical nature, a part of me and no longer a part of me. And this letting go practice is just once, and it's only going to take a very small piece of my attachment away for a moment, and I'll do it again and again and again and again. And in that repetition, what's going to happen to me is that my habit energy of creating attachments in the first place is going to lessen. But it is a practice, and to have attachments is to be human. To work with your attachments is to be spiritual. To have a deep understanding of the way we cling and release our attachments is a homecoming to being a whole human spiritual being. It is a practice, and practice makes practice. Thank you, friends. So good. Let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication of merit. And we're going to come back to our intention card, which is may what you know and what you feel harmonize. Most of us live from here up. This is where we operate. And we kind of bypass this whole messy body and heart thing. And so we know people aren't talking about us negatively, but why does it feel like they are? We know we're a good person, but why do we feel so shitty all the time? And that's because we've got to bring our practice down to that heart center. Activate that bodhicitta, that soft, wounded heart. That heart in all of us that experienced life. And life is suffering, and it's traumatic, and it's painful. And we put an armor around our heart to maybe save our lives, protect us. But the conditions that caused that way back then are not the conditions today. And so we're now at this place of our maturity and spiritual wakefulness where we're slowly learning to gently dissolve that armor. Open up and expand the heart anew. Not in a careless way, not in a weak way or a hyper-vulnerable way, in smart balance, in the sanctity of wisdom, in the comfort of Sangha, with the guidance of the Dharma, and trusting completely in our Buddha nature, the three jewels of Buddhism. We dedicate this practice to anyone and all out there who are still suffering the ravages of substance use and misuse disorders. May they find safety and ease. May they awaken to the magnificence of their lives. May they find healing, clarity, and comfort. To anyone who is in prison, may they find things to do that stimulate the mind and body toward healing, toward care, toward a deeper understanding of how to return to civilian life in ways that are of benefit. To anyone who is in the hospital, anybody homebound who is ill, may these folks encounter caretakers who are motivated by compassion and presence so that healing and ease can be theirs. May these wishes and sentiments of loving kindness ripple out into your families, your communities, your states, your nations, wrap all around the earth itself in all of its rivers and streams and seas. May it radiate out into the cosmos, ringing truth throughout the universe, bringing peace and light and joy to the miracle of your life. Thank you for your beautiful practice today. We'll see you next time. Namaste.